I found out that my adopted daughter is actually my husband's biological child with my sister. Where are you tuning in from today? Share your location in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more intriguing stories. My name is Anna, and I'm currently at a beach house that used to belong to my husband, but now it's mine. He's living in a studio apartment above a garage, while my sister is working double shifts at a diner to cover her legal expenses. But before I dive into their downfall, I need to share the lie that was my life. I've been married to James for 12 years. He was the ideal husband and architect, handsome, charming, and successful. Everyone adored him, including my parents, who treated him like the son they never had. The only cloud over our marriage was our struggle to conceive. For 5 years, we tried everything: IVF, hormone treatments, holistic diets, but nothing worked. The doctors couldn't explain my infertility, and it shattered me. Every negative pregnancy test felt like a loss in the family. I fell into a deep depression. My younger sister, Lily, was my rock during this tough time. Lily, 5 years my junior, was always the free spirit. She traveled the world, dated artists and musicians, and had no interest in settling down. But when I was crying on the bathroom floor, Lily was there for me. 7 years ago, James came home with exciting news. He had a connection through a lawyer friend. There was a young woman, a student traveling abroad, who was pregnant and wanted a closed adoption. She wanted it to be discreet and hoped the baby would go to a good home. "This is it, Anna," James told me, holding my hands. "This is our miracle." I was hesitant at first, but when the baby was born, I fell in love instantly. We named her Mia. She was beautiful, with dark curls and bright green eyes. People would say, "She has your eyes, James," and he would laugh it off, saying it was just a coincidence. Lily was also very involved. She had just returned from a year-long backpacking trip in Europe and South America when Mia was born. She became the best aunt, babysitting constantly and showering Mia with gifts. We were a happy family, the perfect family. Fast forward to 2 months ago. Mia, now 7, needed routine surgery to remove her tonsils. Because of her history of mild anemia, the doctor wanted to run a thorough blood panel before anesthesia. I took her to the lab while James was at work. A few days later, the doctor called. "Mrs. Davis," Dr. Aries said, "the blood work looks fine for surgery, but I noticed something unusual in the genetic markers we screened for. It's a rare hereditary trait related to blood clotting called factor V Leiden." "Okay," I replied. "Is it serious?" "Not usually," he said, "but it is genetic. Since she is adopted, you might not know the history, but interestingly, I see in your husband's file that he also carries this marker. Quite a coincidence, isn't it?" I laughed it off. Wow, really? We were meant to be her parents. But after hanging up, the thought lingered. Factor V, green eyes, dark curls. I started really looking at Mia. She not only resembled James, but had his chin and exact hairline. Then I noticed her smile. It wasn't James' smile, it looked like Lily's. I told myself I was being crazy and paranoid, but the seed of doubt was growing quickly. I decided to take a step that could shatter my peace of mind. I bought a home DNA kit, telling James the first was doing a heritage project for Mia's school. He thought it was a cute idea, joking that maybe she was Italian since she loves pasta. I swapped her cheek, mailed it off, and included samples from both James and me. I took a hair from his razor for the sample, and managed to collect saliva from a coffee cup he left behind, saying I wanted to see if we had any cool heritage too. The results took 3 weeks, and those weeks were torture. I got the email notification on a Tuesday morning while James was at work. Lily was over at my house, having coffee in my kitchen. "You look pale, Anna," she said, stirring her latte. "Are you okay?" "Just tired," I replied. I opened the email on my phone under the table. Relationship probability: parent/child, James Davis and Mia Davis, 99.99% match. My heart stopped. The room began to spin. James was her biological father. I scrolled down to check my results against Mia's. Relationship probability: aunt/niece, Anna Davis and Mia Davis, 25% match. I nearly dropped my phone. If I was her aunt, that meant her mother was my sister. I looked up at Lily, who was scrolling through Instagram, looking bored and beautiful. My sister and my husband had a child together, and let me adopt her. They made me raise their affair child while I thanked them for what they called a miracle. They watched me cry tears of gratitude while hiding this twisted secret. I wanted to scream and hit Lily with a frying pan, but instead, a cold calm washed over me. This wasn't just cheating, it was fraud. This was a betrayal that required a careful response. "I need to lie down," I told Lily. "I have a migraine." "Okay," she said. "Do you want me to pick Mia up from school?" "No," I replied sharply. "I'll get her." I went to my bedroom and locked the door. I didn't cry. I started digging. I had to figure out the timeline. 7 years ago, while Lily was backpacking, James had many conferences. I searched the attic and found James' old boxes of tax returns and bank statements. He was old school, keeping paper records. I found bank statements from 7 years ago, with monthly transfers of $2,000 to an account I didn't recognize. Tracing it revealed it was a joint account. Then I found credit card statements showing James had paid for flights to Argentina, not for himself, but for Lily. The dates matched her backpacking trip. But then I found the smoking gun. An old phone. James kept his old iPhones in a drawer in his office. I found one from that time period, charged it, and guessed the passcode, which was 0000. I checked the messages and found a thread with Lily from August 12th, 7 years ago. Lily asterisk I can't do this. James asterisk just stay in the Airbnb. I'm sending more money. We stick to the plan. You give birth, we do the private adoption. Anna will never know. Lily asterisk I feel guilty. She wants a baby so badly. James asterisk this is how we give her one, and keep me close. It's a win-win. We can't be together, Lily. You know that. But we can have this a win-win. He called deceiving me a win-win. I took photos of everything, the texts, the bank statements, the DNA results, and backed them up to a cloud account that James couldn't access. Then I called a lawyer. Not a family lawyer, but a shark. I want a divorce, I said, and I want to sue them both for paternity fraud and emotional distress. I want to ensure I keep full custody of the child I legally adopted. My lawyer, Mr. Sterling, was quiet for a moment after I explained everything. Mrs. Davis, he said, in this state, since you legally adopted the child, and the biological parents signed away their rights even fraudulently, you are the legal mother. However, proving they conspired to defraud you could invalidate the adoption if we aren't careful. We need to be strategic. We can use the fraud to strip them of any visitation rights and secure your financial future. We don't want to invalidate your motherhood. We want to invalidate them as individuals. Let's do it, I said. For the next 2 weeks, I pretended everything was normal. I cooked dinner, kissed James when he came home, and hugged Lily. It was the hardest acting job of my life. I planned to drop the bomb at Mia's 7th birthday party, a backyard barbecue with our parents, James' parents, and our friends. Lily brought her new fiancé, Mark, who had no idea he was marrying a monster. I set up a projector screen in the yard to show a slideshow of memories for Mia. James stood by the grill, looking like the king of the world, while Lily helped Mia open presents. Attention, everyone, I called into the microphone. Time for the slideshow. Everyone gathered around, sitting on lawn chairs. The slideshow began with cute baby pictures of Mia, and everyone cooed. Then the music shifted. I had replaced the cheerful pop song with a slow, ominous instrumental track. The screen faded to black, and a document appeared, the DNA test result. James Davis, biological father. The crowd went silent. What is that? James asked, chuckling nervously. Is that a joke? Then the next slide appeared, Anna Davis, biological aunt. Inferred mother Lily Thompson, asterisk asterisk the silence was deafening. My mother stood up. Anna, what is this? Keep watching, I said into the microphone. The next slides showed screenshots of the text messages. Anna will never know. This is how we give her one. We can't be together. James dropped his beer bottle, shattering it on the patio. Lily turned pale, looking as if she might faint. Her fiancé, Mark, let go of her hand and stepped away. I stood in front of the screen for 7 years, I said, my voice steady. I thought I was blessed. I believed God gave me a miracle, but it wasn't God. It was my husband and my sister. I looked at James. You slept with my sister. You got her pregnant, and instead of owning up to it, you tricked me into raising your love child. You made me grateful for your betrayal. Anna, please, James stammered, approaching me. It's not we didn't want to hurt you, he said. You didn't want to hurt me? I laughed. You made a fool of me every single day. I turned to Lily. And you? You watched me cry over negative pregnancy tests while carrying my husband's baby. You let me adopt her so you could play the cool aunt and avoid responsibility. I was young, Lily sobbed. I was scared. You're a sociopath, I replied. My father stepped up to James and punched him in the face, a solid right hook. James went down, and chaos erupted. My mother screamed at Lily, while Mark silently walked to his car and drove away, never to return. I picked up Mia, who seemed confused but not frightened because she had her headphones on. The party is over, I said. Get off my property. James, Lily, you'll hear from my lawyer. This is my house. James shouted from the ground, holding his bleeding nose. Actually, I smiled. I spoke to the lawyer. Since you used marital funds to facilitate your affair, and the fraudulent adoption, those trips to Argentina, the medical bills you hid, I'm freezing all our assets. I have proof of fraud, so I'm going for the house, the savings, and full custody. You won't see a dime. The aftermath was brutal. The divorce proceedings were public and messy. In our small town, reputation is everything. James' architecture firm lost nearly all its clients. No one wanted to work with the man who deceived his infertile wife into adopting his affair baby. He had to shut down the business. Lily was fired from her job as a PR consultant. Companies don't want PR experts involved in huge public scandals. She lost her fiancé, her apartment, and her dignity. My parents disowned Lily, unable to forgive the level of deception. They still see Mia but refuse to speak to her. As for the legal battle, Mr. Sterling was brilliant. He argued that James and Lily conspired to commit paternity fraud. The judge was appalled. I was awarded the house, 70% of our assets, and full legal custody of Mia because James and Lily had signed the original adoption papers swearing they were not the biological parents, to keep the adoption closed and anonymous. They committed perjury on legal documents, and the judge stripped them of all parental rights. They have no visitation or say in Mia's life. I sat Mia down and explained everything in a way a 7-year-old could understand. I told her I was her mom, and that would never change, but that her biological parents were Daddy and Aunt Lily. She looked at me and said, but you make my pancakes. Yes, I replied. I do. Then you're my mom, she said. That was all I needed. James is now living in a studio apartment above a mechanic's garage and works in construction, since he can't get an architecture license due to the ethics violation lawsuit I filed against his professional board. Lily is working at a diner 3 towns over. She tries to call me sometimes, but I have her blocked. I'm sitting on the deck of the beach house that James bought with his secret bonus money, which my forensic accountant found. The sun is setting, and Mia is playing in the sand. I didn't lose my daughter. I just shed the 300 pounds of dead weight that was holding us back. I took one last look at the DNA results before burning them in the fire pit. Blood ties you, but loyalty makes you family, and they had neither.